What's happening? It's your boy K's TV, Killer King Ride, you know. Got an open panel discussion. People want to get something off their chest. I'm going to do a little intro song, see who all come in. Let's do this. Your boy, K-Bride, 1300 shit, locked and loaded, let's get it. Hey yo, I creep in a 6 with a crucifix, did a 9 to 5 with a doodle stick. I creep in a 6 with a crucifix, did a 9 to 5 with a doodle stick. I creep in a 6 with a crucifix, you know I got my clip, man, I'm on my shit. Man, you know I'm on my shit. Man, I'm on my shit, man. Nigga see a real nigga with a clip, man. Me with the clip, hit him with the wristband. Coming off the bench, man. I'm the 6, man. Yo, I creep in a 6 with a crucifix. Did a 9 to 5 with a 2 to 6. Yo, I creep in a 6 with a crucifix. Yeah, I did a 9 to 5 with my doodle stick. Hey, yo, I creep in a 6 with my crucifix. Yeah, you know I got my clip, man. I'm on my shit, man. Man, I'm on my shit, man. I need the whole pack. Man, nigga ain't got that pack, man. Run it back. I'm about to run it back. Why these niggas talking shit, now they running back. It's too late, hold up, wait, holding on your face, holding on the wait, get the money, collaborate, gotta collaborate, niggas think you shouldn't elaborate. I been trying to get it straight with the slabs and the cake, man. It's your birthday, with the work on a birthday. Niggas getting work, but they work, but they okay. With the work, but these niggas acting tweaky. I be coming through with my missiles that I heat. Sick, I creeping in my sex with my issue on. Niggas talking shit, now niggas you let you alone. All I do is long, even keeping with the crown shine. Niggas talking shit out, niggas I be on my grind. Gotta get my shit, get it from my kids, get it from my niggas from my hood, get it in the set. On my shit, ass on the hoe like an Irish bitch. Can't see your forehead, yeah, I promise this. Give my sex with my crucifix. Did a 9 to 5 with a doodle stick. No, I creep in a 6 with a doodle stick. Yeah, niggas ain't shit, yeah, I hit them with the clip, man. It's your boy. Creepy. Okay, he's up, nigga. Okay. Creep in the 6 with my crucifix. Did a 9 to 5 with a doodle stick. Yo, I creep in the 6 with a crucifix. Did a 9 to 5, nigga. I'm on the grind, nigga. It's your boy, K-Ride. Fold into your face, don't give a fuck here. Niggas talk shit, pop clips. I'm about to cut lips, hanging about the side though. Niggas about to die though. Got the 4-4 bust like 4-5 hole. Hit him with the AR, niggas the K car. Niggas can't get far, niggas get shit hard. All I do is skip bar, niggas skip lane. Nigga talk shit, pop clips, now that's your membrane. Insane with it, look it up like hurricane. Bust your brain, game numb. With the Novocaine, dumb with the slum. Here I come, you hold it, man. Nigga wanna kick the gun. About to hold the thing, motion thing, these toasty things. Niggas wanna trip, niggas up, you know some things. I done do some things, about to do some things, do some things. Niggas guts, but I'm used to brains. All I do is get head bread in the car, got niggas the shit. I'm in a hard top, niggas on the roof with the snoop, with the .50. In the gang, yeah, it's suicidal and survival. Die slow with 3 fast, need trash. Niggas is done runs with weed blast. Niggas with cocaine, methane, and propane. Niggas so dope, I'm dope, but in a dope, man. Hardcore, 4-4 to see your chest plate. Nigga wanna stand still, it's like a death weight, rush weight. Nigga get hit in chest plate. Niggas wanna do but shit, catch it in the next plate. Next minute, next dick kid, cardiac glasses. Seeing through this fake ass nigga, I'm getting cash, kid. Niggas wanna for game, this kinda tragic. Niggas like I play, and that's the magic. All I do is with the 40 with the bag lit. Nigga wanna switch coast, and that's a dragnet. Niggas shit get smoked, and that's a mad jet. Niggas wanna see the price, I'm mad at. Auto with the dramatic auto, the sending these niggas is tripping the duty, mouth the henny, these niggas can get with me. Usually tools, now these niggas 52, 2, 3, no truths, hit a AR, niggas pay hard. I'm coming to the with straight walk, with straight drop, these niggas is straight cop, these niggas saying y'all niggas ain't heard a thing, my niggas be like a thing, I heard a thing, like a cane, where my brain niggas, these niggas ain't heard a thing, coming up off the shoulder, but the photo.
Yeah, about to get this bad boy started pretty quick here. Gonna play another song. Fuck it, I might as well. Yeah, gonna play another song before I get the shit going.
With a deuce stick. I creep in a 6 with a crucifix. Did a 9 to 5 with a deuce.
Slow it down a little bit. You know, morning breakfast. See if I can get up in here.
Yeah.
Just relax for a minute.
Long road, baby. Gang, baby. It's your boy K. Brown. It's a long road. Like I said, baby, roll with me. Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Maybe I can chill, yeah. Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Maybe I can chill, yeah. Baby, it's kinda hard going through this life. Through the phase of life, niggas facing things like might face a knife, niggas might face a gun, niggas might do some things, niggas might be on the run. Are you still there? Baby, I've been coming back. I'm going around the back just to get the money back. Get the money back, get the bag. Guacamole green, hopping on the steam, popping on the beam, that's the theme. Team. Trying to get the cream, cause it's cash fruit, flash fruit. See me in that book like Matthew. Niggas see me in the end and they be like, that's dude. Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Maybe I can chill, yeah. Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Are you still there? Baby, are you still there? Maybe I can chill, yeah. Sit back, docked in the cut. On my shit, in my Glock, in my cut. On my shit, moving in my mother shit. Nigga with some other shit, trying to get another grip. Without the pistol with it. In this game, niggas gotta be committed. I'm in it to win it. Niggas run it, done it. You know, niggas done like I the drum, bitch. Hitting beats to a different side. I'm in a different round. Niggas out of bounds. Niggas bustin' till they out of it. Niggas when I tell the niggas just calm it down. Niggas like a bitch lying. In my clip.
Alright, try to slow it down. Alright.
Yeah, type of shit nigga get into.
Alright, man, I'm gonna get into this video. Hopefully some people pop in. Basically, you know, it's showing kind of both sides. You know, it's just we trying to understand as globe earthers, as in why do people believe in a flat earth. So I'm gonna play it for you. You know, I don't know if I don't even know if it's helping the flat earthers out. I really don't care about that part. You know, I mean, I know what's real and what's not. So, you know, I guess any evidence is plus side for a gold.
How do I feel about?
All right, let me see. We gotta skip through this commercial. This shit load up, man. I'm gonna have to read my computer up later on. Shit, we'll have fast internet.
Wars,
Fuck
deception,
this shit doing all this fucking load screen shit. Yeah, but all this stuff taking forever. I just want to say a happy Memorial Day to y'all. God bless everybody.
It's kind of funny to me. To me, this
God
is
bless
Satan's greatest lie.
Destruction.
I got the
To
dog.
be here today. To even be able to
I
search
would throw this
on this
out.
internet.
He'll come back with his mouth and
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be chewed up.
Death.
I feel that I've been deceived.
We used to think when we got started individually in this that we were alone. We have one thing in common. We live on a flat plane.
When you're watching videos at home, it's just you and the screen. And it's lonely. Here, because I needed to see what flat earth people looked like. And I was not disappointed. They look normal. Very few people overweight. About 30% of them are cigarette smokers. And only 4 of them that I met are from around here.
Only 4 of them. See that?
Nobody likes
this so you
this
don't hear my
uncomfortable feeling to be
commentary.
this
Let y'all
tiny
listen to that.
ball flying through space, this vast, endless universe. So as far as what's underneath this, I don't know, could be this thickness. It doesn't even have to be that thick because we can only drill down 8 miles. Heck, if this is only 50 miles thick, we don't know. So it could be this sort of dimension. Don't take my word for it. I could be a mental patient recently released from an institution.
Once I decided that I had to go with it being flat based on my gut feeling and common sense evidence, then I was looking around to see who was making a working model of the flat Earth, and couldn't find anywhere. I guess I was the chosen one, or the calling, because I had the skills to do this. I just put some ice in here because the sun, as it goes around, pretty much keeps this area melted.
How do you know?
The chosen one, huh? Funny.
Well, I've watched over 50 hours of video. So I went down to the seashore, down in New Jersey, and I did my own testing.
What sort of testing?
So you take a straight edge and you go from one end and you follow the horizon of the ocean and you go straight edge just to the other end and it's flat.
Yeah, man. So I don't understand why people believe that flat Earth exists. I just want to show some little videos about, showing where people's head at. You know what I mean? Just some studies that people did, about flat Earth. I mean, it's just a theory. And when I try to tell people about flat Earth, and they're not scientists, you know what I mean? They ain't doing no science. They don't have rockets. Nobody funded a program to prove any theory. Flat Earth is basically, if you will, a good feeling. And it's not, and that's to give them a little bit of credit because, there's no scientists backing them up.
Hey everyone, so some of you may
Mike,
be aware of my
had the
recent
mic
foray
drop,
into
but,
the flat earth
let me get into
community,
my boy.
most notably with this lengthy
Right here,
response to the
Professor Day.
Globe Busters. For about 2 months now, the comments section of that video has been a consistent hotbed of activity, with hundreds of flat earthers stopping by to share their opinions. For people who claim claim that globetards just repeat what they were told in school, you guys sure do all say the exact same things. And I don't just mean the same arguments, I mean the same things word for word, like they were copied and pasted from some manifesto. This is because you all watch the same ridiculous YouTube videos made by the same handful of con men, and you all quote them verbatim without applying a shred of critical thinking. So now that I am intimately familiar with your greatest hits, I just had to make one more video so that I could share the 10 things that all flat earthers say. If you're a regular person and you haven't seen my other 2 flat earth videos, you may want to check those out first for a little bit of context. But if you're a flat earther yourself, don't bother. I'll be speaking directly to you throughout this video. Let's begin. Number 1, one extremely problematic side effect of taking the globe and flattening it out into a plane is that gravity makes no sense, and there is no reason for things to fall to the ground. All objects accelerate towards the ground at 9.8 meters per second squared. That's an indisputable fact. And it is also an indisputable fact that any acceleration requires a force to produce it. This is how cars drive, planes fly, people walk, cats jump. It's how literally all motion works. Even charlatans like the globe busters accept at least this much, which is why they go off on their rants about magnetic magic, as you may have seen in my previous video. But quite comically, most flat earthers don't even do this. Most of you address this problem by simply listing 2 words, density and buoyancy. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but these are not forces. Forces are vectors. They have a magnitude, which means a numerical amount, and a direction, which means they have to point somewhere. Density is simply mass per unit volume, or how much matter sits in a particular space. It doesn't point anywhere. And buoyancy is simply a measurement of an object's tendency to float. So allow me to repeat, these are not forces. This is trivial to prove. You say that objects fall down because they are more dense than the air below them. Why down? Why not up? Or sideways? When you let go of a ball, there is air all around it. How does it know to fall down? Also, objects fall down when they are in a vacuum, which means there is no air below them. What's happening there? Face the facts. Things accelerate down towards the ground because of a downward force. That force is gravity, which pulls everything towards the center of the earth, which is its center of mass. Denser things displace less dense things because gravity exists. More mass means a greater gravitational attraction. This is clearly why things that are less dense than water float on water. Again, because gravity exists. Rocks are pulled down harder than water, which is pulled down harder than air. Some of your more popular retorts to this include wondering how oceans stay on the earth while birds and insects can fly. It's because birds and insects have wings. They flap them and generate an upward force. If that force exceeds the gravitational force, they go up. Oceans can't do this because oceans don't have wings. Individual water molecules can't evaporate and go up into the sky because they are so tiny. But when they get up to where it is colder and accumulate into clouds, they eventually condense back into liquid water. And guess what happens? They fall back down as rain. Hopefully you are familiar with rain. As for planes and other macroscopic objects, again, they go up only when a force is applied. When you throw a ball up into the sky, the force imparted on the ball by your arm is greater than the gravitational force. But as soon as it leaves your hand, no more force is being applied. And only the gravitational force is acting upon the ball. So that velocity gets smaller and smaller, hits 0, at which point it starts to fall, and it falls faster and faster until it hits the ground. Gravity. Gravity exists, period. Saying it is just a theory does nothing but display that you have no idea what a theory is. Stop repeating what you hear on flat earth videos and catch up to the 17th century. Number 2, flat earthers all say, I shouldn't see this thing, but I do, so the earth is flat. Then to justify this claim, you all say the same thing, typically squared. Now, if you have any idea what this means, prediction with it. You can't tell me anything about this value at all. When I point this out to you, you get very angry, and instead of answering simple questions, you just link me to a bunch of videos made by con men. Well, I'm sorry, friends, those people are doing incorrect math, or lying, or both, and they are counting on the fact that you won't do any math at all to check up on them. 8 inches per mile squared is not a
I
valid
want
way
y'all to
to measure
rewind
Earth's
that
curvature.
and listen
If
to
you
what he
understood
just
math,
said.
you would immediately see that
And I
this
see it every
squared
day.
on miles is totally out of place. That's because this is a parabolic approximation. This is for doing calculations with a parabola. It's possible that you remember this shape from middle school algebra, but I wouldn't be surprised if you don't. As you can see, the Earth is not shaped like this. So where does it come from, and why do people use it? It comes from the Flat Earth Bible, Zetetic astronomy, and Flat Earth priests use it because they know it's not accurate. It gives them incorrect values that they can use to claim that they shouldn't be able to see something when in fact they totally should. There are dozens of videos on YouTube demonstrating this, several of which reference the actual formula that actually describes Earth's curvature, which, as you can see, requires trigonometry. Stop blindly repeating what you hear on Flat Earth videos and learn some basic math so that you do these calculations for yourself. Number 3, all flat earthers say the same 2 things about water. The first is water doesn't curve, and the second is water finds its own level. The second phrase is completely meaningless, so the fact that you all say that exact thing verbatim is just one of the many demonstrations that you all blindly repeat what you hear without giving it a moment's thought. As for the first phrase, stating that water doesn't curve is at least a coherent thought. However, it is dead wrong. Put a drop of water on a piece of wax paper or a leaf. What does it look like? A freaking sphere. Isn't that something? In your haste to mindlessly parrot what you heard from flat earth priests about water, you forgot to look at water. Water curves, my friends. Look at this curved meniscus. Look at these waves. Water curves all the time. Water magic. It is subject to influence by external forces just like all other matter. With a spherical water droplet, that's the electromagnetic force. Water molecules make hydrogen bonds with one another, which in this context we refer to as cohesive forces. That's why water has a very high surface tension. And that's why a water droplet remains spherical,
Hey, now
so that
if
it can
y'all looked at
maximize the
that
number of hydrogen
visual
bonds that are
and
formed
don't
and keep your system
understand
at the
what the
lowest energy
sphere is
possible.
about,
So clearly and
y'all
indisputably,
trying to stay
water
sleep like
curves.
bears.
In this example, it is due to the electromagnetic
digress.
force. It is therefore quite easy to understand that it can curve under the influence of any force, including gravity. The oceans conform to the curvature of the Earth just like the land does, and for this reason. This is why saying that water finds its own level is absolutely meaningless. You think that level means flat, as though on the globe model, water should just magically project into space at some arbitrary angle. In fact, level just means as close to the center of the Earth as possible. What's most hilarious is that even in the tool called the level, which only works because gravity exists, there is a curved bubble right in there. If the bubble is curved, what is the liquid, which is mostly water, doing around that bubble? In repeat from flat earth videos are incompatible with even the most trivial. Number 4, you are all quite perplexed about how Earth's atmosphere can exist. You have no science education, your only context for the word vacuum is a vacuum cleaner. And again, because you have no science education, none of you understand how a vacuum cleaner works, which is a problem because you seem to think that outer space is
Hey, if
vacuum
y'all
cleaner.
knowing,
Let's take a
this
moment and
what I
clear
was
this up.
trying
A
to
vacuum is any
explain to
region where there
Dreads
is no
about the
stuff.
vacuum and all
Here,
that.
there is stuff, like
But
air. In
anyway.
space, there is no stuff, or at least very, very close to no stuff. Space is essentially empty. That's a vacuum. It is not a thing that sucks. Vacuums don't suck. Everyone say it with me together. Vacuums don't suck. Earth's atmosphere displays a gradient because gravity exists. There's a lot of atmosphere right near the ground, and then as you rise, because fewer and fewer molecules will have enough kinetic energy to go so high, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner until there's none left. Then you're in space. It's that simple. Number 5. One of your favorite little gotcha challenges is to request that we demonstrate how water can stick to a ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour.
Oh,
The
I love when
implication
they
is
say
that water and
nonsense.
everything else should fly off of it like a child getting thrown from a merry-go-round. Well, it's very cute that you get overwhelmed by numbers with 4 digits in them, but in actuality, the Earth spins once per day. One time in 24 hours. Get on a merry-go-round and have someone push you one time around over 24 hours. Not a very thrilling ride, is it? The issue is that the Earth is really, really big. So if instead of using rotational velocity to describe a rotating body like a normal person, you try to use linear tangential velocity, you're gonna get a pretty big number. But to be honest, it's still not really that big. Planes go more than half that speed, and sitting on a plane at cruising altitude with no turbulence is just like sitting on a chair on the ground. Flat Earth priests cite these big velocities associated with the Earth and the solar system purely for shock value, and you're falling for it. Stop doing that. Furthermore, this little water doesn't stick to a ball challenge is the strawiest straw man that was ever made of straw. The Earth is huge. It generates an enormous gravitational field. That's why everything sticks to it. A ball is very tiny. It does not generate an enormous gravitational field, so things don't stick to it. Also, unless you're doing this in space, the ball must be very close to the Earth, which, as we just said, generates an enormous gravitational field. So when water drips off the ball onto the ground, your desired demonstration of gravity fails because gravity exists. Stop asking for ridiculous and impossible demonstrations like having to build an Earth-sized object to show you how water sticks to something as big as the Earth. Number 6, lots of you say that moonlight is cold. This is astonishing for a number of reasons. The first is that it is not related to any claim you could possibly be making in order to argue for a flat Earth, but of the fact that you have no clue how science works. Some flat Earth priest measured the moonlight makes it colder, but does it? Shouldn't you add some element of control to your experiment? What's a control, you ask? Fair question. You see, your measurement isn't evidence of anything. You now have to repeat the experiment when there is no moonlight, so that the moonlight was indeed the cause of the discrepancy in temperature. This is something you should have learned in middle school, but don't worry, I'll finish the experiment for you. Take the measurements again on a night with a new moon so that there is no moonlight. Look at that. You'll get the same result. So the moonlight absolutely wasn't the reason for the discrepancy in temperature. What was the reason? Well, that thing that is providing the shade from the moonlight is also trapping in heat that is emanating from the Earth while it faces away from the sun. So, case closed. I'll link to at least one empirical demonstration of this fact in the description below. See how important it is to know how to do a science experiment? Maybe you should actually learn science rather than just repeating what you hear on flat Earth videos. Number 7. Many of you say some unintelligible nonsense about water flowing uphill, or that on the globe model, some rivers flow uphill. This one is so stupid that I genuinely can't believe any human could fall for it. You'll look at a globe and say that a river flows this way and that this is somehow uphill, because you seem to think that up on the screen is some kind of...
Hey, you know I had to pause that for my boy Sir Drop. Hey, this is for you about the water uphill, Sir Drop.
universal up in space. Well, how about if I turn this a little bit? What do you know? Now it's down. Listen up. There is no up and down in space. This is not up. This is not down. To believe so would be as dumb as thinking that on Earth, whichever way you happen to be facing is north. No one on Earth is upside down or on their side. Up on Earth is away from the surface of the Earth, no matter where you are on the Earth. Rivers flow from higher elevation to lower elevation, which is a measure of how far away you are from the surface of the Earth. This has nothing to do with flowing in any particular direction along the surface. This is also why people who make videos acting confused about why elevation doesn't change between various sea level locations around the world are among the dumbest people alive. This is sea level. This is sea level. This is above sea level. This is above sea level. That use them in a sentence. Number 8. Many flat earthers remain dumbfounded by the idea that the Earth is slightly closer to the sun in winter than in summer. As I've said before, winter up north is summer down south and vice versa. So your confusion is one of northern hemisphere narcissism, but it is also one of complete ignorance. Here's the Earth. Here's the light coming from the sun. Look at this portion. It hits the Earth straight on. Look at this portion. Because of the curvature of the Earth, the light hits the surface at an angle and is therefore distributed around a greater area. Same amount of heat distributed around a larger area, lower average temperature. This is absolutely trivial to understand. It's why magnifying glasses can focus light to a point and set things on fire. It's how heat works. Flat Earth priests know this. They just pretend to be confused about things that they know their viewers won't check up on. Number 9, many flat earthers refer to the body of scientific knowledge as scientism. This is meant to be derogatory, implying that science is a religion. I'm very sorry, but saying this just demonstrates that you know nothing about science and probably didn't pass a single science class in high school. Science students are not told what to believe. They are shown how to perform experiments. Even in high school physics, students use blocks and ramps and balls and pendulums and carts and rulers and timers to derive Newton's laws and many other such pillars of science. They personally do the science that has already been done by others in order to derive the knowledge that we already know and prove its validity to themselves. This continues through college and then on into graduate school, where students do their own research and figure out things that no one else has done yet. So using the word scientism only serves to disqualify you from adult conversation regarding science. In actuality, it is quite clear why you adopt this viewpoint, because you just accept whatever you hear if it's what you want to believe. This is why your beliefs are baseless. Since you are incapable of doing anything what you are told, you assume that others are doing the same thing, but they are not. Those that are educated in the sciences understand how things work and use this information to build technology, such as computers and the internet, both of which you use to claim that the science that produced them isn't real, in a display of irony so thick that you could cut it with a knife. And to wrap things up, number 10, the pièce de résistance, the claim that we have all been indoctrinated, that we have been brainwashed, by schools, by the government, by NASA, by Freemasons, by you all say the same exact ridiculous things word for word, like your recitation to be throwing around. The fact that you all say the same things is not surprising in the slightest. What do you do when you want to brainwash someone? You tell them they have already been brainwashed. That's what flat earth priests do. They tell you that you've been brainwashed so that you are nice and receptive to the brainwashing. They tell you that everything you know is a lie so that they can lie to you. It's human psychology 101.
Now, for a brief second, I want y'all to understand human psychology 101. So, like, when somebody thinking they winning a debate and then they tell you brainwashed already, they don't understand that I'm looking through them like water. This is because they are at a beginning stage of brainwashing. That's the first step, is to make you think that somebody tricked you already. You know what I'm saying? So they can trick you. And that's why like the globe earth model, and I use religion to shape, if you will, those evil diversions. And, you know, you can see through with a clear head, because, you know, you want to, rule number 1, you don't want to be diverted to say that you've been made a fool of by saying somebody taught you something. We know you're supposed to be taught at some point in life. I digress.
One. Why do they do this? Money, status. It's a way for con men to capitalize on the gullible few who exhibit a combination of ignorance and suggestibility. It's a cult. You're part of a cult. Not like the kill yourselves with Kool-Aid kind, but it's not that far off. So get angry, call me a shill, call me whatever you want. I guarantee that many of you will bring up these 10 things I just talked about while commenting on this very video, demonstrating that you didn't even watch any of it. Most of the rest of you will avoid addressing anything I said and just vomit a bunch of other different flat earth talking points. But maybe a portion of you will have the courage to accept that you've fallen for a hoax. It's not that big a deal. Many of us have fallen for hoaxes or been manipulated at one time or another, myself included. Just admit that to yourself and walk away. And when you're ready to learn science in earnest, my tutorials will be waiting for you. Thanks for watching.
Well, just to say that, that's all you gotta do, man, is just admit it and walk away. That's all you gotta do. Because you know that this shit ain't flat. You know that God is more creative than that. He ain't, I mean, just think about it. When you're thinking about a God or the God, and then you think about just a flat earth, just think with all the twists and turns and patterns and creations, why would the Almighty make a terrain that's just flat? That's just too basic, and God
Hey everyone,
ain't
so some of you may be aware of my flat earth
by God
debunking
not
videos
being basic,
and a channel
I mean,
named
just use your
Modern Day
common
Debates.
sense. It'll tell you. Common sense will tell you that God ain't basic, so He ain't gonna just make just a flat earth. I mean, come on, man. You gotta be something mystical. You gotta be something spectacular. But anyways, my brother Sir Drop wanted me to play this 10 reasons the Earth is flat. Is. Now, if you understood what we just watched, and if you look at the word is a powerful 2-letter word because it's already telling you that it is. And that's where you can watch being brainwashed. You just do a fact check and then you let it know is. Now, I'm straight debunk. Just the search engine itself is saying 10 reasons the earth is flat. Well, as soon as we got to is, the red flag rose, and it just told me that it told me something without explaining how is flat with just using the word is. But anyways, this video I'm about to play from my boy Sir Drop. So this is against, what I believe in. But just, becoming on, just being fair about situations. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Let me make sure it's look at showing the earth is round first. And you go show what's about to. Okay. Now this is funny right here. As y'all see this live, well, not in YouTube anyway, so I ain't gonna take nothing away from anybody else's search engine. But they couldn't even put 10 reasons the earth is flat. So they couldn't even find half as many reasons off of a typical search off of somebody said. So the best thing I can do for you, Sir Drop, is give you this 5 facts to prove the earth is flat. I guess they couldn't come up with another one, 5, off bat. You know what I mean? But that's real funny. I'm gonna let this play.
You ain't seen nothing. I'm putting together a team.
So you're an astronaut? Indeed I am. I don't know if you noticed, but obviously an astronaut. Yeah, I see that. You don't really need the astronaut thing here. I mean, I have oxygen. Well, you can never be too careful, Christopher. It's Jason. Whatever. Plus, the ladies love it. Well, I'm sure they do, Neil. It seems you're left with little else to impress them with. Tell me this. I mean, as an astronaut who's been on the moon and looked at Earth from outer space, surely you can confirm that it's spherical, yes? See, that's just the thing, Jerry. It's Jason. Whatever. The point is, I was never in space. Okay. Explain further. I've got the ice cream sandwich here to prove it. You see, space camp isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's a 10-year-long training regime, and no one's ever completed it. What does this have to do with ice cream sandwiches? Clearly, you've never had space food. After the physical challenges, the flight safety, the swimming lessons, the vacuum training, comes the survival test. You have to live for a week on space food. Oh, easy peasy. We get to eat ice cream all day. Allow me to demonstrate. It's disgusting. Here, try some. Oh, I think I've had my sample. Okay, so your whole point is we never went into space because space food sucks, hence the Earth is flat. Now you're getting it. Okay, well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thank you for your service. I believe the next interviewee is ready, so thank you. Oh, sure thing, George. Thanks for having me. It's Jason. Thanks for joining me. Could you state your name and profession? My name's Jordan Frisbee, and I'm a professional chef. Hey, I've brought you this. Oh, thank you. Fascinating. Yeah, I was just eating space food. Terrible. Anyways, what's your take on this whole Earth being spherical, round, flat, pointed, whatever? Great question. You know, a lot of people say, oh, look up at the moon, it's round. Why is everything in space round if they're not spheres? That seems like a fair point. What's your counter? Look, Jason, is it? Yes. Wow, thank you. So what's your favorite food, Jason? I'm not sure. I don't have a favorite. Tell me, what's your favorite food? Wow, okay. I don't know. Pizza? Of course it is. Everyone loves pizza. Pizza is round. Pizza is flat. Oh, God. Okay, so how about this? The moon, right? It has lunar cycles. So let's just say this baseball here is the moon and my phone is the sun. You shine a light on a baseball, half of it's lit up, the other half is dark because it's spherical and the light doesn't wrap around. Same thing happens with the moon and the sun. Well, sure, that's a theory. Okay, so explain to me the shadows on the moon. What? Look at it. Looks like the moon, doesn't it? Okay, I'm convinced. Thank you. This is a nice looking garage you've got. Say thanks for the free OJ. Oh, that's not. Oh boy. That's not bad. Well, I'm Jason. It's nice to meet you. Likewise, my name's Clint Westwood and I'm a space cowboy. A space cowboy. Yes, sir. Oh, good grief. That's a profession, is it? Oh, it most certainly is. Typical city folk response. Always knew y'all dumb. Oh, you know the Earth is flat. Balls. Excuse me, what? Balls. Okay, let me break this down for you. You got any sand? Oh, sure, here you go. Well, that'll do. Now, do you think the very first person who drew a map, you think they drew that on a sand?
All right, yeah, I'm gonna stop that video right there because I couldn't find the one, the 10 ways, but I did find one for him with 5 ways, and you see even how silly that seemed towards like I said, yeah, I want to say Happy Memorial today to all y'all. Much love. You know, about to take a little commercial break. Let me see. I'm going ahead and bump something entrepreneur, but I still got some. I still got some rhymes. I do all different types of rhymes and shit. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, sure boy, K-Rock.
Got the goons in this bitch, nigga.
1,300 niggas. And now we got them falling to the floor. To the floor. They wanna go. And now we got them falling to the floor. Falling to the floor. Falling to the floor. Oh, they wanna go. We got them falling to the floor. Falling to the floor. Falling to the floor. No, I ain't no hoe. I'm never falling to the floor. Now. But now we got them falling, crawling, creeping, crawling, got them crawling on the phone. If they wanna go, man, he on the tone, I'm on the phone, talking to my nigga tone, bitches on the tone, niggas like me about to go up in these niggas dome, and they don't know, they wanna go. And now I got them falling to the floor. I'm never falling to a foe. You can be a friend of foe. Man, he in dough. Oh, here I go. Comma, cuzzy, tie, suicide, neckties with my team. Newly right, we got a over hot. Pump your veins with that thing. Make you shift from that shape. Make you shift with that tape and that clip. Here we go. Used to take me to the studio. You know the things in the game was kind of mutual. Calling on a friend, calling on a foe. Really, they don't know. And now we got them falling to the floor. Falling to the floor. We got them falling to the floor. To the floor. I'm never falling to a floor. Falling to the floor. I got them falling to the floor. This little nigga wanna go. We got them falling to the floor. 2, 2, 3 to your knees. Squeeze the Lebanese. Interior, hitting your interior, all into exterior. Used to put the side, but Siberia. Third world, third clip, third ball, hollow tip package, man. Get a full pour, spring pop, I clean shops, fuck O's with crop tops, it don't stop, bust O's and black box, niggas they not, niggas don't squeal, chill, but real, ill, spill, cut, yeah, on the real stuff, nigga, shit, gas, get filled up, now them niggas wanna go. We got them falling to the floor, we got them falling to the floor. Never falling to the floor, we got them falling to the floor. Praying to the floor, oh, really wanna go. Suicidal cyanide with the nitrate. Niggas might live crooked life and still die straight. Go up in the bleachers, they pleaches, they need it niches. I tell them to breach this and preach this. 3 bricks on the podium, stodium, stern, word, turn, burn, brains and minds, nines, rip spines and lines, dying and dying, the fork, the plate, and the spoon, sun in the moon, the sun in the goon, strong in the cool, strong in the skin, they running again, they wanna go. And now we got them falling to the floor. What is we gonna do? We gotta play it too. Now they wanna go. Now we got them falling to the floor. To the yeah. Man, there's some things you can't understand.
Okay, bro, 1300. Man, there's some things I can't understand. Eating lemon brain in the plane, getting brain. That's some things you can't understand. Eating lemon brain in the plane, getting brain. Man, there's some things you can't understand. Niggas getting stained shit. Niggas know I'm about carrying steel that was stainless. Hit your grill, candy springless. Yeah, I'm just young and dangerous. 44s in my hand, man. I'm trying to touch another band. Some other things that you can't understand. Man, trying to get some fan. Eating lemon brain and playing, getting brain. That's some things you can't understand. Eating lemon brain and playing, getting brain. Man, there's some things you can't understand. Down bad on your best day. Yeah, jump shots the next day. Getting next with the extras. Yeah, that's a plus. And the bus for some other bus. Niggas ain't fucking with us. Me in trucks, shit, armor. And yo bitch, I'm a charmer. Yeah, you can see the smile. Man, I'm freaking on the black and mild. Learning about these things is like niggas worrying about the things is like they're trying to change his life. Yeah, my so dangerous. Used to be young and dumb, they can't hang with us. 44s to your chest like a 45. You trying to like it's your only lie. I only try. Not. Oh, there's only one fucking time. Brain getting brain in the plane. Man, that's some things kind of stay. Figure out, figure out. Yeah, got the trigger out. Yeah. Didn't know the language just because the nigga was young, he was dangerous. With the marksman, shooting with the marksman, man, I'm just dark skin. Got a hat like a shark shit. Yeah, some things you can't understand. Yeah, it's a bigger picture.
Said, man, I'm just
I
dark
can spin
skinned.
it with you.
Yeah, we'll probably
But
play
you
another
gotta
cut or
get,
two,
you
man.
gotta
Probably
get
jump on
it.
subject and probably
Man,
close
trying
it
to
down
get a
after
lot
that.
of
But much love to peace to all y'all, though, man.
trying to get richer.
Just want to get rich.
That's
Let's
a
do
big
it.
picture. Hold up. Trying to get richer. Okay. She said she wanna get rich, I wanna get richer. Real big, now that's the big picture. She said she wanna get rich, I wanna get richer. Man, that's a big picture. I just wanna get rich. I just wanna get me a bitch. Man, I just wanna get rich. I'm on a mound, man, I just wanna pitch. Trying to get rich, I'm trying to get paid. Trying to get rich in all type of ways. Trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to get boo back. Life's a bitch. Some niggas living life but they wife's a bitch. This life's a bitch, man. I'm trying to get this Mike Tyson shit, cause it's a knockout. I'm about to pull my cock out. I'm about to pull the whole fucking block out. Blocker. Betty Crocker in the kitchen cooking. Tony Hawk still skating. Waiting. In and out like the usher. I be having hands. I'm the man. I don't touch it. All we gotta do is get the picture. Trying to get bigger picture like I'm getting in the bigger picture. Bigger than you get big. Real big fat head with the fat bread. And the fat bed spread with the mayonnaise. Nigga monkey. Now they trying to get underlay. Riding on the horse, she riding on my Porsche. When she shooting on the Porsche, riding on my Porsche. Real hard, so she wanna get a Rari. And we wanna get rich, so the bitch ran a Harley. Yeah, she ran a Harley. Ran a Harley, I don't really need a Harley. I be moving in a Rari. You bitches call me Rari. Yeah, bro, a Rari moving and up a Rari. Cause she wanna get rich, I wanna get richer. Until it's real big, like a big picture. She wanna get rich.
Yeah, I'm on the scene. K's up with the killer green. I'm on the scene, yo. I'm on the scene, yo. Man, niggas on Marty. Okay, 13. Yo, she's an ovulator. Obviously, yeah. See your mom later. Moving escalator, incubator. Baby's made, the baby trade. Maybe AG fade, AG ways. Hit with the KGKs. Kamikaze, comrades. Bombs, Nate Palms near. They mom's dad. Bombs pad, it's on grad. Long.
Yeah, yeah, I'm about to have to shut this down, man. I want to thank y'all for stopping through, man. I just want to say, please want to know that Earth is a globe. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit is real. I'm gonna say much love to all the families. Happy Memorial Day. Everybody be safe. Wear your mask. Stay 6 feet. You know, you might be feeling healthy, but make sure that you protect yourself because you will be eventually protecting other people just by, doing your part in this pandemic by wearing your mask, gloves, washing your hands constantly, things of that nature. And we will get through this. I would say as the brown, black, original Jews, have a blessed day. Messages today will just give you brothers and sisters a hand if you can do it. Whether it's showing love physically, mentally, things of that nature. And I want to say, y'all have a good day.